Good morning and happy Monday morning. If you caught that, I just went live for like 2 seconds and then was like, oh no, because I'm having some technical issues, but yeah, that happened last week as well. So obviously there's a little bit about my technology here that I need to investigate. I hope you're well. I'm having my Monday morning coffee and so this last week has been a tricky one for me, the last 10 days or so. Just gonna adjust there we go. I've been feeling pretty under the weather and that has really sucked and has taken away a lot of my energy since getting back from Seattle, which I came home with a lot of creative energy and I'm gonna do all these things and all of these plans and yeah, really, I've spent a lot of that time not feeling so well. So David has convinced me that I should go to the doctor this week. So I've got a doctor's appointment on Friday to investigate why I've not been feeling well. But for this morning, we can just concentrate on happiness and good stuff. And I got a fun little show and tell, actually. I live in a neighborhood that have like a ton of musicians in it. Hello, Dave. Oh, rainy Nova Scotia, 70 degrees. That sounds nice. It's been highs over 100 here in Austin yesterday and today. And the summer's been a little late getting started. Yesterday, I think, was the first over 100 day, aside from like a little batch of days in maybe June or May that went over 100, but then came back down. So now summer's finally started in Texas, in central Texas anyways. So there are a ton of musicians in my neighborhood, and a couple of houses down, there is a lovely couple, and one of the people is a pianist like me, and the other person said that his mother had made these beautiful quilts for his partner's piano, but that they only needed one. And he was like, oh, I was thinking about getting rid of it, but then I know you're a pianist, and would you like this? I have to show you. It's absolutely beautiful. Here, I'm going to actually evict my phone from it so I can show you this beautiful piano quilt. It's like handmade. It's so pretty. The colors are lovely, and look at the stitching. There's like, let's see if I can find through there's a treble clef and a sharp and all sorts of little notes. Like, this is handmade. I feel so like blessed and lucky to have such a beautiful gift, like randomly from a neighbor. So I now have a sweet little piano blanket, which I love. And the moss is growing moss here. Oh goodness. I guess that's because of the rain, eh? Well, I know what that's like, having grown up in Seattle. But here it's really different, and I have to say that, sometimes I miss the rain, but it does rain plenty here, and we get plenty of rainy days. It's just like not in long stretches like it was in Seattle. So I have a plan for us today. Initially this morning, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for Monday morning coffee. I was a little bit stuck, and then just as I've had my morning coffee, it's sort of a plan has come together. So I think I'm gonna play a Bach prelude for you. This is one that I studied in college. It's from the first book of the Well-Tempered Clavier, and it's the one in G minor, which is, I don't think I've ever heard anybody else play it. So I think it's not a widely played one. So it might be kind of interesting to hear a Bach piece that's not widely played. It's a little bit different. Good morning, David, and good morning. Hello, Scott. Love to see you too. I love that, Dave. Bach to the basics. Exactly. Sometimes I come into Monday morning coffee with like, I have all these things I want to share, and how am I going to fit it all in? And other times, wow, there's some super Bach puns happening in the live chat here. But other times I get to Monday morning coffee and I'm sort of like, sometimes even a little bit down. I'm a little bit like, oh, I don't know what to share. I don't know if anybody's gonna find anything I do interesting. We all have that kind of headspace sometimes. So, but it has magically come together, and I'm excited to share this with you. So I'm gonna play this Bach prelude, and then I'm gonna play one of my pieces for you, and then I'm gonna do some improvising as always. I hope you all are well. I hope you're feeling better than I am. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, although today is better than the last 10 days have been, so that's good at least. And in case you're wondering, I have had 2 COVID tests and they were both negative, so not COVID. Turns out we could get sick with other things too. All right, let's have some Bach. This is the G minor prelude. Oh, I was gonna mess around with titles on the screen. I'll do that next week. All right. Well, that's one way to get you real alert and woken up on a Monday morning, is sight reading something you haven't played for like more than 10 years. Almost 20 years maybe? Anyways, let's see here. Scott says, I wonder why this one isn't as well known. I like it better than most Bach I've heard. There is a lot of Bach that is very beautiful, actually, and very lyrical like that. It's not often played. So one of the things that is interesting among classical musicians is the debate when playing this kind of music, Baroque music that was written for harpsichord, basically, or for the early pianoforte, which didn't have the kind of like staying power in terms of like long held out notes. Many people believe that you shouldn't be playing it with much pedal. You shouldn't be, many people believe you shouldn't play it with pedal at all, because a harpsichord doesn't have pedal. It's a very twangy kind of sound. I happen to take a bit of a middle approach. I don't use a ton of pedal. I'll use like half pedal, where my foot only goes about halfway down on the pedal, so it doesn't have as lasting of a sound. But I tend to believe, unless I am playing a harpsichord, which harpsichord is really fun to play, and I love playing harpsichord, but unless I'm playing harpsichord, I feel like Bach would probably have wanted me and us to enjoy and use the instruments that we have. I mean, he literally didn't have an instrument like this to play. We don't know how he would have played it. And so I think that being able to take this music and enjoy it in a modern way is really helpful. Let's see here. Dave is asking what makes it a prelude. That's a really good question. It's one that I can't answer with a great deal of confidence. The Well-Tempered Clavier is a collection of preludes and fugues. And I think it's, well, no, okay, I do know. It's a prelude to the fugue. And so there's 2 books of the Well-Tempered Clavier, and it's this sort of keyboard compendium that Bach wrote, where he wrote a prelude and a fugue in each key from C, C major, and C minor, C sharp major, C sharp minor, D major, D minor, E flat major, E flat minor. Like, it goes through the book, and he wrote 2 books that cover the full. So there's like 2 C major prelude and fugues. There's a book 1 and a book 2. And it was, I think, intended as like kind of a study or an exploration of what the keyboard could do. And fugue is, what a fugue is you'll hear like an introduction of a tune, like maybe it's, that's a really dumb one for Bach, but it might start like this, and then, actually I should use an actual example, because I feel like actually understanding what a fugue is really delightful and interesting. Let's see if I can find one that I can play at least the beginning of, so that, okay, I've completely lost my spot. I should go with that. So okay, here's that G minor one. Sorry about that. So the tune in the G minor fugue, and I'm not going to play all this because I can't, because fugues are much harder to play than preludes, just like physically. So you get fugues with different voices. So this is a 4-voice fugue. So that means you're going to hear this tune. Here's voice 2. Voice 3. So you have a tune that comes out, it's almost like Bach was famous for his chorales, which are vocal choral pieces, and you have 4 different vocal sections in many chorales. You can have more, you can have fewer, but you'll have soprano, alto in the higher voices, and then tenor and bass. And so if you think of, hey, I'm playing these voices on the piano as if it's a choir, then one voice will have the tune, and then shortly thereafter, it'll pass that tune to the next voice. So you'll hear that same tune while the first voice is doing kind of harmonizing or kind of like textural tapestry things, weaving. And then the third voice will have it, and it gets more and more complex because those other voices kind of do complementary things to make that voice stand out. So now you know. No problem, Dave. He says, thanks for the lesson. Yeah, I mean, I was a piano teacher for 20 years, and it was a while ago, but it's all still in there. So thanks for asking. It's kind of fun to have questions and interaction. Okay, so now I thought, I was playing this morning. I'm getting ready for a concert next Thursday. I'm doing a house concert, and Scott Davis, D. Davis, is actually joining me here as a guest artist. Here in my home, we're gonna have about 30 people, and there's room for 50 people in this room, but we're keeping it to 30, so hopefully everyone will be masked and everything. We're gonna be real careful. But I'm very, very excited to actually play a live concert in person. It's been a while. And so I've been practicing my recent releases from Lost in the Azure and teaching myself to play along with the orchestration, which is really, really tricky. But I was playing You Sparkle Still this morning and realized that I don't think I ever played this on its own, as its own piece. I always, if I performed it, I performed it as part of the group of 4. And so I wanted to share just this piece with you. You Sparkle Still. It's the last piece in my release, Lost in the Azure, which is about lawlessness on the high seas. And You Sparkle Still is kind of like the denouement to these pieces that are quite intense, lots of sadness and intensity. And loss. And this is just kind of this sort of dazed, like, oh, the ocean is still such a beautiful place. And it occupies so much space in kind of our collective human psyche, in our history, in our culture, storytelling. It's a beautiful, mystical, magical place. And it is also the site of these horrors, this terrible crime that we as the human race need to do something about. But like, it can be both at once, I think, is what this piece is about. It can be beautiful and the site of all of these horrors. Like, it could still be beautiful. So I feel like there's some cross application to other experiences in human life as well. Something can be harmful while also being beautiful and having, you know, this amazing draw to it. So this is You Sparkle Still. That's not how that starts. Sorry about that. Still in Bach. that was You Sparkle Still. Aw, David says he hears the produced version when I play this. I found that too, actually. I guess I've played these at the piano enough that I hear them both ways, but with Well Past Midnight, that's one where like I think I've listened to the produced versions more than at this point, several years after I released the music. Then I've listened to the solo piano or played the solo piano, so when I play the piano by itself, I hear the produced versions in my head. It's pretty cool. Lovely to hear that kind of texture. Well, I think I am gonna just jump right into some improvising. Hi, so let's see, I have a concert coming up next Thursday. I wanted to tell you all about that. I'm super excited, and maybe next Monday I'll be able to bring on a special guest to kind of share excitement about the concert with you. Also really exciting, it's my first house concert in Austin, and it's already almost sold out, which is really exciting. Still like 2 weeks to go, week and a half to go, and it was almost sold out last week. So yay! I think everyone is very excited to get out to be doing things again. And as an event producer, it's been interesting to it's been a challenge actually to think about like, okay, how can I make sure that we're all being as safe as we can be while also facilitating this actually to happen? How can I help keep people safe? About a month ago, we all went to a candlelight concert in Austin that was like a string quartet playing a bunch of different things. And like everyone was required to wear masks, and the seating groups were distanced and everything. It was a nice big space, and it felt not unsafe at all. Yeah, so I think I'd like to try and emulate that. So we'll see what I can do. I'm gonna do my best. And I've been messing around with lighting, and I've got like an amp and some speaker systems to try, because I really want to play Lost in the Azure. I want to perform that with the production if I can manage it. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Let's see here. Dave says, Miles Davis used to record his band improvising on a mode with no rehearsal. Yeah, that's really common in the jazz scene. I think improvising as performance is just kind of the norm. It's pretty cool. It's definitely cool to see that happen and see how jazz players like interact with each other live on the stage, and respond to each other live. It's very cool. It's definitely its own really special skill, performing jazz like that. Okay, let's have an improv and see what happens. I was thinking I might, normally I take keys from the audience and from y'all, and or I make up, E flat minor, or what was I in last week? A flat minor, I don't know, A flat major. No, it was A flat minor, I think. But I thought, hey, let's take this interesting opportunity to do C major, because I hardly ever do C major, because it's the easiest key. You could argue it's actually not so easy. It's the key that most new students learn, because on the piano at least, it's all white keys. So you start on C, that's C major, all white keys. But as a more advanced pianist, it's actually, or playing very quick, fast scales, it's actually not the easiest. Because if you look at your fingers, they're not symmetrical. And so playing all white keys, all flat, all symmetrical is actually like less physically easy than playing, say, E major, which has, longer, the black keys, which are further back on the keyboard for your longer fingers, or B major is the one that actually Chopin used to teach his students first, because it puts your thumb and your pinky on the white keys, and it puts all your middle fingers, your longer fingers, on the black keys. So it's actually quite easy to play. Let's see. All right, let's see here. I see Scott says C major is the most difficult key. There we go. Yes, I think it is the most difficult key to play in, because also like just keeping track of yourself, where you're at. And then Dave says he bets I'll hit a black key or two, and you're definitely right, because I just already did it. So let's see if I can come up with something a little Bach-y. Not like a fugue, but perhaps like a chorale. So something with chords, and let's see what I can come up with here. Starting C major. that sounds awful. Sorry about that. Well, that worked all right. Sometimes I end my improvs and I'm sort of like, sorry. But other times I'm like, yeah, okay, that worked out just fine. C major is definitely a key that I have some familiarity in. And now, okay, we still have like 2.5 minutes, and it's funny, some Mondays I'm super chatty and I have so many stories to share, and other Mondays I'm feeling less chatty and more like making music, and this is one of those Monday mornings. So why don't I play something a little contrasting? Let's do, oh, thank you, Dave. Oh, I appreciate that. Let's do something a little more reflective, and let's do something in D minor, which is one of my favorite keys. I have a lot of music in D minor, actually. No. Where do we want to start? Ooh, okay. I'm not sure this is going to be D minor. It's going to start in D minor. I gotta figure out what I'm hearing in my head here. I guess it's that. Well, I guess that wasn't particularly haunting or minor, but it was a little bit more reflective than the last one. Man, I think I might keep improvising after I sign off here. I'm kind of digging my energy and what I'm doing this morning. I think I might have to come up with some more things. Well, my dears, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here with me. Thank you for being here with me and for maybe you're having a tasty beverage yourself. And well, I hope you are having a good Monday. And even if you aren't, I hope that you can take 5 minutes out of your day today to do something that is just absolutely, completely for yourself. Give yourself some joy today because you deserve it. We all do. We all deserve is a weird word, actually. It's kind of loaded, isn't it? But we all are human beings who are allowed to feel joy every day, even though we're in this complicated society that places all of these complicated demands on us and on our schedules and on our times, our obligations, responsibilities. Please take care of yourself. Go love yourself today. Take care of the people you love. And you know, if you've got the extra energy, take care of everybody else too, because that's why we're here. And we could all stand to help create a better world, I think. Mwah. See you next week.